Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone else can. Friends?
I can tell you drove high.
Parents?
I can tell when you drive high.
Relatives?
I can tell. You drove here high, didn't you?
So what makes you think law enforcement can't?
I can tell.
If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
Trojan family, what's up? Welcome to the USC LAFB show. Here on the LAFB Network, I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Tough way to end the season, head off into what is going to be a very exciting and I think trending in the right direction offseason. But to end it like that is certainly tough. You know, the last 2 years have not gone great for USC, but they've capped it off with a good bowl win that really kind of left things in a positive light for the future. And this is kind of the opposite, right? Like the season ends, there's so much momentum with everything going on with recruiting, with some maybe coaching stuff, with some player retention, just a lot of excitement about the future. And then now you get the opposite and you have this brutal loss similar to year one of the Lincoln Riley era when they give up and blow a lead to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl and lose that. It just leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. So let's get into it. Let's talk, analyze about this. I was hoping to be able to go live with Tim. Tim, if you're watching this, Tim hit me up. We were hoping to go live. My newborn was asleep directly behind me, and then directly after the game, I had to put my other daughter to bed, my 5-year-old. So just couldn't make it happen right after the game. But since putting my firstborn to bed, my newborn has woken up to eat. So she's with the wife. So I was like, okay, I got 15 minutes. I can jump on here real fast. Just didn't have the whole directly after the game time for a live. But I want to get on here quickly and talk before we get into the new year while it's fresh. And, you know, there's two ways you can look at this, in my opinion. Some of you will disagree. That's fine. I think there's, or I guess one way and two sides, we'll say, you can look at this. I think we'll start with the positive. When you look at how much inexperience played in this game, the way the guys battled, we saw some really good playmaking ability. We saw some really good hitting. We saw some, a number of good things from players that we either hadn't seen at all or players that we'd seen not much of. I think when you think of, 13 true starters out of this game, 7 on defense, 6 on offense. Obviously there was, other key players as well, not in this game, that maybe not considered starters per se, but guys that got a lot of reps. For instance, Walker Lyons. If we're calling Lake McCree the starter, Walker Lyons was clearly, tight end 2 that played a lot. He obviously did not play. So you have like really 18 or so of 22 starters not in this game. So a lot of inexperience, a lot of youth, and you went head to head with a team that, USC should beat. I think even without some of these starters should beat. It was an 8-4 TCU team, 9th in the Big 12. They were without their starting quarterback, but that was about it. I think they were also missing a receiver, but the rest of their starting team was all intact. And sometimes you just, you're shorthanded, you don't have experience. It's all freshmen. I mean, there was some plays out there where 90% of the guys in the field were freshmen, either true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. So you look at it like that and you're like, okay, guys get experience. This is one of those learning experiences, a way you don't want to lose, a way you can't lose. And, so you take it like that. You also take into account that Dan Lynn was, as of yesterday, still the DC of USC, right? He had media availability, representing USC as the defensive coordinator. All indications were he was going to be DC at least through this game, call the game. Well, late last night, this morning, he's out, gone, away from the team. Coach Henne, who I love Coach Henne, but never really been a play caller yet. We'll see if that ends up changing. With no preparation as the play caller, becomes now the defensive play caller. So for all the frustration of, man, what a vanilla defense, it's the day of the game and you're all of a sudden given the keys to call plays. Like, you're not going to go crazy on the game script and in-game play calling when you've had zero preparation to carry that out. So I don't know all that went on behind the scenes, right? We can speculate all you want, but as of yesterday, Dan Lynn was still prepped to call this game. As of this morning, he was not. That is a tough situation to be put in, because even in other situations when, a coordinator is either relieved or fired or leave, like, usually there's a couple days to prepare. You can think of when Alex Grinch was fired. That was before a game. I think it was even during a bye week, maybe. Then you have, you're still not going to do crazy changes because you're in season, but at least the guys calling the plays are having time to adapt. This was day of game day. So for all those, like, man, what a vanilla defense, like this, like, why are you rushing this and that? And why are there only 3 pass rushers? Like, I get it. Like, you do not want that in those situations, but at the same time, like, I don't know what more you could kind of ask for, considering the youth on the team, 7 starters out on defense, and the youth in the play calling, first time college defensive coordinator play caller given the keys the day of the game. So when you look at it like that, it's like, man, it stinks, but okay, let's pump the brakes. Let's not everyone start throwing things at the walls, and can understand kind of why this kind of went. We saw flashes, right? The first 2 possessions, 3 and out. The first 2 possessions of the first 2 or 3 possessions of the second half, you get a interception, 3 and out, like, really good things. And then it just couldn't maintain as TCU on offense, give them credit, kind of made some of their adjustments and kind of did their different things offensively. So, in that regard, it's unfortunate, but I don't put a ton of stock in that. Like, this is not the defense that we're going to see. This is not the offense that we're going to see next year. Now, we will see, obviously, some of these players start taking on a bigger role, but they're going to have an entire offseason. We'll have a DC in place an entire offseason, whether that's incoming or someone actually promoted, but with that title. So it was kind of just a weird situation of, we knew going into the game that a lot of the players were going to be experienced, but we didn't know that the play caller was also going to be different as well. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number 1 sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Mayava, if it's Makai Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. Now we can look at the other side of the coin, right? The more negative approach and the more concerning approach, because everything I just talked about is true. Experience, all of that. That's true. USC's hand behind her back, essentially playing shorthanded, battled, fought hard, just came up short. That's all true. But on the other aspect, you still should have won this game. You're up 10 in the fourth quarter with this roster, with this play call. on offense, you have the opportunity to salt the game away. In overtime, you get down 1st and goal from the 2, and you have to settle for a field goal. Like, those are the moments that you cannot keep having as a program, regardless of the personnel. And so that I'm fully aware, fully understand, and fully with all of those that are, in my opinion, probably a little overreacting, but in that regard, you're not, because you can't have that. Like, what's unfortunate, and we could get into play calling, which I'm not going to do right now, but I mean, on that, it was either the 1st and goal from the 2 or 2nd and goal. I mean, the offensive line just got absolutely obliterated. Like, I don't know what, it was almost like a turnstile. All of a sudden, 4 TCU defenders just meeting King Miller at the 5-yard line. You can blame the play calling, but I mean, you're first or, again, if it was 1st or 2nd down, your goal to go from the 2, it's not a egregious play call to run King Miller, who's had multiple touchdowns, putting some faith in your offensive line. Like, to me, I think I don't like getting too much, like, yeah, there are certain play calls that, Lincoln Riley every game would like to have back. Any offensive coach will tell you that. Sean McVay, we cover the Rams here. There's plenty of times Sean McVay does things. We're like, well, what are you doing? But sometimes it's just as simple as execution. Like, your goal to go from the 2, running the ball with your really good running back is not a bad play call. Your offensive, I don't know what happened. It just was a turnstile in that play. It just ended up terribly. But that can't happen. You can't have that poor of execution in those moments, because SC scores a touchdown there, as they should have, 1st and goal from the 2. Then, I mean, we'll get to the egregious tackling, but then regardless, you're making it double overtime. No matter what happens, you're going to double overtime, unless they end up going for 2 on their, if they score a touchdown and go for 2 and get it, obviously. But most likely, no matter what, you're getting to a double overtime, even if your defense falters. So when you have to start with the ball and you settle for a field goal, you're already giving yourself almost a death sentence. So it's those things, not being able to salt the game away. Goal to go on the 2-yard line, 1st and goal to go, and settling for a field goal. Like, regardless of your personnel and experience, like, those things cannot continue happening. And then on defense, you get into a 3rd and 20 look, a great sack by Cam Crawford. Defense does their job. 3rd and 20, you're going to force a field goal pretty much no matter what. And it could be a very long field goal. Could be in the 50-plus yard range variety. And hey, if he hits it, great, go to double overtime. You held to a field goal. I think that's, in college football overtimes, like, that's kind of all you can ask your defense to do is hold to a field goal. Like, you're in field goal range to start the game. And they actually knocked him back. And then on 3rd and 20, again, so this doesn't matter about the vanilla play calling. This doesn't matter about Coach Henny first-time play calling. This doesn't even matter about lack of experience or personnel. A simple screen pass that you still even if you give up 10 yards, you may give him an easy field goal, but hey, you're forcing the field goal. And you miss 3-4 tackles? One of them from one of your biggest hitters in Christian Pierce. I don't like throwing individuals under the bus, but your biggest hitter out of bounds, 180 pounds, and you, at worst, if you don't want to wrap up, you're not knocking the snot out of him out of bounds. I mean, those are just obviously unexcusable, but also just unexplainable. Because you just can't, it's just the perfect storm of bad things to happen in that situation. And so it's a brutal way to lose. It's an unfortunate way to end a season that had a lot of positivity heading into the offseason. I still fully believe everything is heading in the right direction. Obviously, it doesn't feel that way to some by now, but again, going into this bowl game, all we wanted was to see young players play. So remember that. Remember that. Obviously, you play to win the game, and USC should have won this game, and they kicked themselves in the foot for not winning this game. But at the end of the day, this is another learning experience. This was a chance for players that didn't get a lot of playing time to get playing time and to kind of see what you're working with heading into the offseason and into the transfer portal. And obviously now we will really turn our sights on the portal and we'll start looking at every position, who's more available. I've done a couple of those. We'll do a lot more of those and really kind of pinpoint exactly who USC needs to go out and go get, and specifically at certain positions. Because I think tonight, that's what that kind of reveals. You got 35 freshmen coming in, but you got to have some experience, as tonight showed. Tonight was all freshmen, basically. On defense, you had all freshmen and sophomores, and then you had DeCarlos Nicholson and Keyshawn Silver, 2 redshirt seniors. The rest were all frosh or softs. On offense, you had pretty much all freshmen or sophomores and Jaden Mayava. And then, Jaden Richardson and Jay Fair playing as wideouts. So you have that, and then you have more freshmen. You got to go get some experience there. And that's kind of what this reveals tonight is, hey, I mean, we can point blame all we want, but hey, if you have Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, Eric Gentry, Kamari Ramsey, like you're not losing this game. So again, that's kind of the positive thing about you're not losing this with those guys. However, you still should have won it without those guys. And that's where it's frustrating, right? We can sit here and I can play the beginning of the video and say, yeah, well, look at all these things stacked against them, but you still should have won, even with all that stacked against you. So hats off to TCU for them battling their butts off and them playing with pride and finishing the game out. And that's not taking anything away from the USC players who battled their butts off and, fought the entire game. But you got to close those out regardless of the experience in there. And that's what these guys will learn. And that's what you take from this game is learning that. So drop your comments. I know there's a lot of upset fans out there. I'm sure once, 24 hours go by, I'm sure there'll be a lot more cooler heads usually prevail then and say, okay, yeah, it sucks, but we can see some of the positives out of it. But usually right now is when everyone's pretty hot and bothered, which I get. That's what makes being a fan and covering sports so fun. But we'll see what happens with the DC. I'll be back on here. I think, like I said, I think that's going to happen by New Year's Day. I think it'll be pretty quick. Not guaranteeing it, but the portal opens January 2nd. So you want to have this thing pretty much done going into the portal opening, with all your assistants, everything locked in and buttoned up and tight, and your personnel going into the offseason. So that will be big to get done before the new year, essentially. So we'll be back on ASAP, and I might do tomorrow. I know Pete Kwiatkowski is obviously the big name. I still think there's a chance of an internal hire. Again, don't take anything tonight. Coach Henny was given the keys today. All right. So don't take anything tonight about him as a defensive coordinator. So I think there's still some potential of that. And I don't think anyone should be freaking out about that, but I'll put together a true hot board, I think tomorrow, of some potential names. Maybe I'll reach out and see if there's anyone else I can figure out. I know they've done some interviews, so I don't know if that will leak out or not. I'll try to see if I can do some digging, but I'll at least get some more names out there of some potential, even though Pete Kwiatkowski is obviously the name to watch. So 30-27, USC loses in overtime, 9-4 on the season. Tough way to end it. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Drop all your comments below. Obviously want to hear your thoughts, and I'll comment back to as many as I can. Hit that like and subscribe button. Just because the season is officially over does not mean the daily videos stop. So I'll be on here every single day. I don't really take days off. We'll be here every day, 2 to 3 videos every day, keeping you guys informed on all things USC, all things USC recruiting. And I'm trying to hopefully get some basketball involved in here. I haven't had time now with the new year and the season officially being done. So it's really just more recruiting and transfer portal. I'm going to try to start some men's and women's basketball coverage. If you guys want that, hopefully we'll see how what the response is, but my hope is to start adding some USC basketball coverage as well. So that'll be coming here hopefully soon, but everyone, enjoy your evening if you're watching this late night, or enjoy your day if you're watching this early morning on New Year's Eve. Hopefully you can just enjoy what's left of the college football playoffs and college football bowl season. Would have been nice for USC to get the 7th Big Ten win. Weren't able to pull it off, unfortunately, but hey, let's look forward to this offseason, to next season, and what we got rolling in the pipeline. So appreciate you, family. As always, fight on.
Did you know Microsoft has officially ended support for Windows 10? Upgrade to Windows 11 with an LG Gram laptop. Voted PC Mag's Reader's Choice Top Laptop Brand for 2025. Thin and ultra lightweight, the LG Gram keeps you productive anywhere. And Windows 11 gives you access to free security updates and ongoing feature upgrades. Visit lgusa.com/iHeart for great seasonal savings on LG Gram laptops with Windows 11. PC Mag Reader's Choice used with permission. All rights reserved.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.